everybody, this is Greg Clevin. With this edition of the Sun Sports Show, we have Mike Shaughnessy, one of our sports editors from the South Suburban sports area, and we have Nick Clark from the North area, and John from the Central, and John Sherman, I should say. Taking a look at the section softball tournaments, Mike, who are some of the teams from your area that might be playing down in Mankato, or will be playing in Mankato?
The Section 3 Class 3A final is this afternoon over in Egan, and actually we may have a winner determined in that tournament before this webcast hits the air, but it's going to be Egan playing Rosemont. Egan, as many people know, is the defending state champion. In this tournament, which is double elimination, of course, they already have one loss. Rosemont is the undefeated team, so Egan's got to win twice to get back to Mankato. They can do that primarily because they have Sarah Moulton, one of the best pitchers in the state. Moulton has Friday in an elimination game against Burnsville, which was the #1 ranked team in the state. Moulton shut them out 1-0. Tuesday they played Lakeville North, scoreless for 6 innings. Egan scores 5 in the 7th to win it, and then they came back and beat Park of Cottage Grove 1-0 to stay alive in the tournament. So if there's a team that can come out of there through the losers bracket, it is probably Egan. Rosemont is playing very well though now. They had a little bit of a concern going into the playoffs because their pitcher Rachel Hefner had developed a sore shoulder in the last week of the regular season. The primary cause, as Rosemont coach Jim Matheson believed, was that she had to throw 13 innings in a game in the last week of the regular season. But she appears to be fine now. They have some offense. Their shortstop Maria Leidner homered in the 8th inning. In the winners bracket final against Park, they went on to win 5-3. They scored another run later in the 8th. So if they're so on one hand you have a team with a pitcher who's capable of shutting out anybody, facing a team who might be able to score runs against just about anybody. Should be interesting. I gotta think Rosemont has an advantage because they've needed to win just once in 2 tries.
Yep. Nick, any teams headed for Caswell Park?
Well, not yet. Not yet. This Section 5 tournament up in Class 3 up at Rice Creek Park in Shoreview has been very interesting to watch. When the seeds came out, Spring Lake Park was handed the #1 seed. And it was tough to argue with the season the Panthers had, but they play in the North Suburban Conference, and most of that section is made up of Northwest Suburban Conference teams, and I don't think there's any argument in terms of where the more competition is, and we're going to get tested on a more regular basis in terms of conferences. But Spring Lake Park hasn't lost yet. They've advanced all the way to the section final. They put up 12 runs on Osceola's Becca Gervin, which was, I think, more than anybody's put up in her career. And to advance, and they're in the final. Osseo was sent back in the losers bracket with that loss. They've come all the way back around, and the 2 teams will play this afternoon. Osseo needs to win twice to advance. And Osceo's had a great year, and with Becca, the possibilities are there. But Spring Lake Park's been awfully impressive in this section tournament. I can't go too much farther without mentioning the run that Champlin Park was able to put together in this section tournament. This was a team, they won 3 games all of the regular season. They were the last place team by 2 full games in the Northwest Suburban Conference this year. Last seeded team, seeded #12 in the 12-team tournament. And they lost their opening round game to St. Michael Albertville, and were pushed down in the losers bracket, and then won 4 straight games, including shutouts of both #4 seed Maple Grove and #3 seed Centennial. They beat #8 seed Mounds View to advance. And then they ended up losing when Osseo got pushed back down. They lost to Osseo 3-2 in a game they led 2-0 going into the bottom of the 7th and lost on a 3-run walk-off home run. So after a forgettable regular season, to the Rebels' credit, they put that behind them and played pretty well in this section. It came to I'm sure a heartbreaking end. I wasn't there to watch see the looks on their faces, but I imagine it was just a devastating end. But the Rebels deserve a lot of credit for what they were able to do. But yeah, that section will be decided tonight. Like I said, Osseo and Spring Lake Park at Rice Creek Park in Shoreview, and Osseo needs to win twice to get there. And they can do it, but Spring Lake Park's looked awfully good.
John, in Section 6 AAA softball, we've got quite a matchup. Hopkins is advanced now. Are they undefeated?
They're the undefeated team.
It's
Greg.
double elimination for those that aren't aware of the way they do the tournaments. But Hopkins is undefeated, and they're going against Richfield.
The Spartans in the winners bracket final the other day out at Richfield Middle School. It was a close game for a while, and then Hopkins busted the game open. They bunted 3 times in a row. Richfield had a little trouble with their bunting game, and then Haley Nybo hit a double to score 3 runs. So
6-0
that
final
was a
for
big blow.
Royals.
6-0. Both teams have very good pitchers, so it should be a good matchup with Morgan Nybo for Hopkins and Katie Wellens for Ridgefield, 2 of the best throwers around.
Kira Jeffers has come up with some clutch hits for Richfield during the section tournament. Coach Kim Niederlicky has her team poised, but I don't know, just like Mike says in his section, for a team to come back and have to win 2 games, it's tough, but it's been done. And as far as picking a favorite in that game,
I'd say the favorite is the the favorite has to be the undefeated team. So
Hopkins
look for Hopkins to come out swinging today.
They've been quite the story the last half of this year. I know I wouldn't want to say struggled, but they weren't exactly playing well and winning a lot early in the year. But it seems like after the midway point of the season, Ann Campbell's really got that team going in the right direction.
Interesting thing about that, Nick, they were 0-3 to start the conference season, and they won the next 9, and they really needed to do that because Minnetonka had an excellent season with Mary Beth Wig coaching, and some great play from their star players, Kelsey Olson, Kim Kelly. They really had a good season, but Hopkins overtook them the last week of the season, and now they're playing like champions in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that section, as well as the Section 3 final, are ones to watch because for more than a decade now, almost all of the large school champions have come out of either the Classic Lake or the Lake.
well, thanks guys. That should wrap up this segment of the Sun Sports Show. We'll be back with another segment.